In this video, we're going to explore two properties of square roots, the multiplication property for square roots and the division property for square roots. Here, we'll demonstrate these two properties using numbers. Later, they'll be used to simplify radicals. Let's start by looking at the multiplication property for square roots, which says that the square root of any positive number times the square root of another positive real number is equal to the square root of the product of those two numbers. Using two numbers, positive real numbers x and y, we write that as the square root of x times the square root of y is equal to the square root of x times y. So let's demonstrate this property using the numbers 4 and 9. So we can say let x equal 4 and y equal 9. Looking at the left-hand side, we have the square root of x times the square root of y. So replacing x with 4 and y with 9, we'll have the square root of 4 times the square root of 9. And this property shows that that should be equal to the square root of 4 times 9, where that product is inside one radical. Looking at that left-hand side, the square root of 4 is simply the number 2, and the square root of 9 is simply the number 3. So the left-hand side is 2 times 3. Looking at the right-hand side, where we have the square root of the product of 4 and 9, we can simplify that product to be 36. So the right-hand side is the square root of 36. And at this point, our left-hand side is 2 times 3, which is 6. And our right-hand side is the square root of 36, which is also 6. So we can see very clearly for this example that this product holds true. And this property is going to hold for any real number x and y. We didn't demonstrate a proof here. We simply gave it one example. So let's summarize here. This property holds for any positive real numbers x and y. Now let's look at the division property for square roots. This property says that the square root of a positive real number divided by the square root of another positive real number is equal to the square root of the quotient of those two numbers. Using x and y as the positive real numbers, we write this as the square root of x over the square root of y is equal to the square root of x over y. And again, let's demonstrate this with the numbers 4 and 9. So we'll let x equal 4 and y equal 9. Looking at the left-hand side, where we have the square root of x over the square root of y, replacing x with 4 and y with 9, we'll have the square root of 4 over the square root of 9. We can then write that that's equal to the square root of 4 over 9. On the left-hand side, we know that the square root of 4 is 2 and the square root of 9 is 3, so that left-hand side is equal to 2/3. The right-hand side is a little bit more complicated to simplify, but we know that 4 is 2 times 2 and 9 is 3 times 3. So let's write that right-hand side as the square root of, and then inside that square root we're going to have 2 times 2 divided by 3 times 3. Now we can see that the left-hand side is 2/3 and the right-hand side is also 2/3. Again, this is not a proof of this property, but rather one example to demonstrate it. This property, the square root of x over the square root of y equal to the square root of x over y, also holds for any positive real numbers x and y. So let's summarize that. This property holds for any positive real numbers x and y. And again, these properties will be used to simplify various radicals as we move forward.